Go back here then.
Callum's working.
Hmm?
Callum's working.
An hour and a half. You can use mine after this. Get everybody to text you your email. Text you their email addresses.
Yeah, I'm seeing Sarah there.
Hi, Colin.
Hi,
Are you
Sarah.
all right?
Yeah. Right. What?
Oh, so here we go. Open Zoom meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, look, here we go.
Right, I'll cut the call then.
Right.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Morning, Raj.
Good morning.
Hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah, a little bit better. A little bit better. I've been like paracetamol, everything.
Have you?
Yeah. Turn the phone off. Actually, I'm going to get a drink and some. I've got some strepsils just in case my throat goes.
Yeah, just in case you start coughing.
Yeah, I'm just, like
Oh, dear.
drinking brandy out of a bottle.
Do you know what? I thought that was a good wee door then. That's how you opened it up. How are you doing, Colin? All right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Ooh. You?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad. We were looking at figures yesterday. We're 40% up on Goodwe from last year.
Oh, good. Good.
That's not too difficult. You only sold 2 inverters last year.
Yeah. But we're also 40% down on Solace. So I'm really pleased on that.
Oh, really? Wow, that's a switch, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're down on Solax as well. So
Right.
what we're doing seems to be working. We just need to really keep pushing people now.
Yeah.
To so I've got got a child at home. One of the year group has got COVID,
Oh.
so
Right.
they've put the whole year into isolation.
Oh, really? Does that mean you are as well, or?
Well, Chloe's had a test and it's come back negative.
Right.
But it could be a false negative. So work's just asked that I isolate alongside with her. Obviously not going to office. I don't have to isolate. Chloe.
Oh, great. Hi, Chloe.
She's there doing her work.
How you doing?
And then, so I've got 2 daughters. And then last night, the girls were meant to have a dancing show this weekend. So they haven't danced in a dancing show for nearly a year. So they managed to get a show. It was just on 30 pupils from the dance school. Chloe and Lily were in the first half, going to watch the second half with me on Saturday. And then they went down. Chloe obviously can't do it now because she's in isolation.
Yeah.
But Lily is in a different year group, so she could still do it. So they went. Lily went down last night for tech run. There 45 minutes, somebody got a text, they've got COVID, so she's had to come home. So I've got 2 of them in house. We'll get there. But no, I was just saying to Colin, we're 40% up on Goodwe to what we were this time last year.
That's good.
We're around 18% up on sales to what we were last year.
Right.
and we're 40% down on Solace.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So,
Does that bring us
no, Solace is next to nothing now.
right? Okay.
What we're
Okay.
doing is obviously working. We just need to do a bit more. So I'm hoping with the response we've had to both Goodwe, my 2 Goodwe webinars are the busiest webinars we've got out of this series.
Right.
Sarah,
Yes.
to let you know, I had a guy, not yesterday, day before, called Giles Barker
Yes.
contact me.
Hmm.
And he's telling me megawatt this, megawatt that. They've got all of this for next year, this, that, and the other. So he said to me, how do you want me to do this? I said, we would prefer you to go through a distributor. And as Sarah's put you onto us, we'd prefer you to go through to Waxman's. But
Yeah.
he still kept asking about buying directly.
He will, and he'll push his luck, will Giles. I've spoke to a few people regarding Chloe, please. I've spoke to a few people regarding switching over from Solace. So I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and what lets Goodwe down is the MPP trackers.
Right.
Solace have got more trackers within their unit, and it's just for string configuration.
Right.
So I've got some notes on it. I'll type it up and send it over just to see, obviously, if there's anything.
Well, I think when the new HT series comes in,
Yeah.
the 100, the 120, the 136, and then the 250, that solves that problem.
Yeah, I think them thinking more like the 50s and 60s.
Right.
I spoke with, do you know Engenera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to see them on Tuesday, had a meeting with them, and they are now, they've got their own funding. So
Right.
they're doing, nothing they're doing is below 50 kilowatt. And
Right.
they're adamant they want to use Solace.
Right.
But my argument with Solace is you still have to use the DRM box, so there's still extra work in it. So they have to do the demand response unit.
Right.
And with anything over 25 kilowatt, which is ridiculous. You know, you'd have thought Solace would have caught up by now. And we just can't compete. If we were to buy them Solace and buy it from Seagen or Edmondson's, we're just outpriced straight away because we're buying at the same price they are.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I will introduce yourselves to them, because I just think if we can start really pushing them onto Goodwe,
Right.
like I said, they've got, I think he said he's got a meg to do this month. No, a megawatt this quarter. So he's got a megawatt this quarter, and he's got just under a meg to do for the first quarter so far next year.
Okay, look, here's the thing. With our inverters, yeah, look, they're priced as they are, but overall, throughout the installation and throughout the length of the life of the project, there's a lot of cost savings involved, which people don't figure.
Yeah, they don't factor them in, do they?
No. So in the long run, it ends up cheaper using what we've got compared to a Solace.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I've literally put together an email for them, and it's got every link to every webinar that we've done so far in this series. I'll pop yours in it after today.
Okay.
And I'm going to email it over to them. I'll CC both you and Colin in, make the introduction, let them feel like they've been we've been attentive with them, the manufacturers involved. They do like nurturing, just to see if we can get some more business out of them, because domestically we've been really busy over the last sort of 3 months. We had a really, really good month last month, but we've just started noticing last month the commercials are coming back through. So we're doing a lot of, I'd say sort of 300-400 panels upwards. We've got a guy who's got 900 on allocation, 900 units on allocation of panels, and he's taking the full kits.
Yes.
So
Listen, just quickly, should we figure out this screen sharing, because I've forgotten how to do this?
Right. So hover over the bottom, Raj. I'll click on screen share first. So there's mine. I know mine works. So stop share.
Right.
And then obviously you guys, I've set it up so you guys with your bin panelists can actually share your screen as well.
Okay, so can you?
Right, can you see mine now?
Can't. Well, yeah, yes.
We can see that.
You can see that? Right, and then I hit stop share.
Stop share.
And then Colin.
Yeah.
And we just need to remember to mute your own microphone when the other person's talking, otherwise it'll pick it up the background.
Yeah. Can you see that?
See that, Colin?
Right. Okay. Great.
Right, stop share, Cole.
Fab.
So sorted. Right, what are we talking about again today?
Just customers in general and the way things are moving and progressing, and we think hybrids are going to be quite important next year.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, so the batteries seem to be doing really well.
Right. Are you selling the Alpha with our EMs? Is that working out?
We will do. We're just waiting for the 5.7s to come in.
Right.
We've brought in a pallet of pylon tech in the interim period from Rocky, just to be able to sell through some of the units.
Right.
Few teething problems with Alpha. We had a few issues with a few of the units not working, some with components missing, but we seem to. What we've done instead of going through Alpha ESS UK to buy our product, which then becomes more expensive because the shipping charges to them and then to us, we've just bought direct from China.
Okay.
So that actually landed, the container landed on Saturday in Felixstowe, so it's on its way up to us now.
Good. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. So we've got 3 containers. First one's just coming in now, and then we've got 2 more arriving over the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Have they got a tech guy in the UK?
Yeah, St John, but getting older and like getting all the rocking horse shit.
What's his name?
It's spelt St John, but it's St John.
I've never heard that one before.
Have you never met him? He used to work for PVK.
No. You're getting hold of rocking horse.
Oh, have you not?
No, never.
Yeah, so it's just a nightmare to get hold of, and it's frustrating customers because if they've got an issue with a unit, the only time to resolve that issue if you need China on the phone is on a morning, and it's got to go through WeChat.
Yeah.
So customers are then doing an installation in an afternoon, and if they need some support, Cindy's like, well, I need to get China on the phone. Well, it's no good. You know, get somebody from China over to UK. If you're offering technical support and you can't fulfill that full support in the UK, you need somebody in who can.
Yeah.
Right. Back in a minute.
All right. So,
no, agree.
All right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that 2-hour window is going to get worse over winter as well with the clock change. Narrows that down to an hour.
I know.
I mean, I have the same issue when I need to get a response. So, they need somebody here.
I mean, I'd probably say 99.9% of everything you can resolve, can't you, Colin?
Yeah.
You know, it's just if there's a serious issue, and obviously China needs to be involved. But we've had issues with product not being updated correctly, and people are on site and having to manually update stuff, and it's like, it's just frustrating.
Sure. Yeah.
Get these people to buy into stuff, and then they have an issue and they fall out with it.
Right, we've got 5 minutes. I was going to say, they're having the same problems we did 5 years ago.
Right, back in a sec.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. The product itself is really good. You know, it sells really well. Aesthetically, it looks nice. It's cheap. It's quick and easy to install. Everyone likes the little all-in-one system.
Yeah,
you know, that's scalable. They do prefer that.
It's better than that other thing you were selling.
Oh, Varta.
Yeah.
I never hear from him now.
We don't even hear about him in the UK.
I've never seen Peter kicking about anywhere or heard his name or anything.
Right, well, put it this way. Last time I saw them, me and Colin were in central London, just off Tottenham Court Road, Oxford Street Way, at Centrica, at one of their offices. And we were waiting in reception to go into a meeting, and then the lift opened, and these 3 Varta guys walked out. 2 of them were the people that were at one of the exhibitions, and they were carrying a massive, big, bloody display unit, like in the lift, and like trying to haul it out. And I'm just thinking, they got to get this on an underground train and get it back to where they are. So they must have like brought that into London on the train.
They'd have been sweating.
Yeah, they were struggling with it. Me and Colin just pissed ourselves laughing.
Yeah. So. No, I don't hear anything from them. We had a bit of a fallout with them just before Christmas last year. Peter was horrific, absolutely horrendous with me on the phone. Told me that I weren't any good at my job. I didn't want to sell anything because I wouldn't sell a unit to the CEO of Varta's friend in Barbados,
What?
because I said I'm not. Our terms and conditions in our agreement state that I can only sell in UK and Ireland,
Yeah,
and not sell to Barbados. Well, just sell it. I said, who's going to support it if it goes wrong?
yeah,
Technically,
exactly.
the contract of sale lies with us. Who is going to support that? Well,
Mm.
well, you'll have to. I said, I'm not flying Jonathan out to Barbados. It's ridiculous.
Is Jonathan back now?
Yeah, Jonathan's back. Suki's back as well.
Right, okay,
So
good.
we're all. Nicola leaves tomorrow.
Who's Nicola?
Oh, right.
Young girl, glasses.
Yeah.
Oh,
She leaves tomorrow. She's going to work for a conveyor belt company based in Switzerland, but she'll be working in the UK office.
right.
And she's looking after South African accounts. So you can't really, you can't blame her. She's a young girl. She wants to progress in her career, and
Yeah.
That's a long conveyor belt.
I know. But they supply like Cadbury's and stuff like that. So, because I said to her, is it really worth leaving during COVID? You know, at least, you know, with energy, your
Yeah.
job's really secure, because energy's doing really well at the minute. It's probably one of the only industries that's actually progressing through COVID at an astronomical rate, you know. But she said she wanted to go. So I'd rather somebody left I don't want them there under duress and
Yeah.
get the best out of them, do you? So we're currently looking for somebody else.
We know how you feel.
Yeah. Are you under duress, Raj? Are you under duress?
The last time I tried on a duress, my wife killed me.
That's why he looks the way he does.
Yeah. Well, we are on 1 minute, so I'll broadcast now. Wait for a few people to jump in. Just keep introducing everything, saying hello to everybody, and then I'll do a quick Waxman introduction, mute my screen, and then I'll hand you over to. Do you want them first, Raj?
Yeah, I'll take them first, and then Colin will just kill them off.
Okay. All right. Blind them with your science, Colin. Right, I'll broadcast.
Bore them. I'll try not to bore them.
You'll be fine. I'll broadcast. So we'll see a few people jump in. Indeed. Good morning, everybody. A few people jumping in already. Morning, Derek. Morning, John. Morning, Jim. So we'll just wait for a few more people to come into the Zoom room. Raj and Colin, could you put your microphones on mute? Just so it doesn't get from one screen to another. Morning, Suki. We've got quite a few attendees this morning. I hope everybody's well. Still quite a few people to jump in, so we'll just give it a few more minutes. For those of you who haven't done a Zoom webinar with us before, my name's Sarah. I'm the Sales Director for Waxman Energy. At the bottom of your screen, there should be a chat and a Q&A section. Could we please keep the questions that you're going to ask throughout the webinar in the Q&A? It just means we can download them at a later date. We will answer them live during the webinar, and you will receive a link to the recording, so you can watch it back at a later date, or other members of staff might want to watch it. So we've got quite a few more jumping in. Few names that I recognise, a few new ones. So good morning to everybody who's new to our webinars. A few more to go. If anybody wants to grab a cup of tea while they're waiting, we'll just give it a couple more minutes for people to jump in. I'll apologise now. I've got both my children at home, having to work from home for school. So if you do hear any noise in the background, it's just the kids. Unfortunately, I couldn't throw them outside while we did this. It's raining. I'm not that cruel. So a couple more minutes, and then we will go through a brief presentation from myself, and I'll hand you over to Raj and Colin from Goodwe. Morning, Suki. Just seeing your little chat pop up. Right, I'll start with my brief presentation now. I'll just share screen. So can everybody see my screen? Raj, if you can see, can you give me a thumbs up? Thank you. So good morning, everybody. For those of you who've never met me before, my name's Sarah. I'm the sales director for both Waxman Energy and Waxman Battery Storage. So I'm going to do a brief presentation for you with regards to what we can offer our services and facilities and our products within the company. So we are specialist distributors of residential and commercial energy storage solutions. We do practice what we preach, as you can see from a little part of the picture here. We have got solar. That is our energy facility based in Elland, West Yorkshire. So a little bit about the group and a bit about the history of the company. So we are part of the Waxman Group with over 50 years in distribution. The Waxman Group consists of 9 companies within 3 key divisions: fibres, ceramic tiles and renewable energy. So this all began at the beginning with the distribution of Japanese fibres, and we soon became a leading European distributor of flame retardant fibres, primarily used in protective workwear and upholstery. We diversified into other markets and expanded our business to include distribution of ceramic tiles, becoming one of the leading suppliers of ceramic tiles and mosaics within the UK. So as you can see there, that's our ceramic facility. So we expanded further into the renewable energy sector in 2007, and we're now one of the UK's leading largest distributors of renewable energy and associated products. We are a family-run business, and we're led by Chairman Richard Waxman, and have built our business on our commitment to developing strong and lasting relationships with our partners, and we're able to source world-leading products across each company within each division. So what's relevant to you guys in the training today is our energy division. So both Waxman Energy and Waxman Battery Storage are located on the same site in Elland, West Yorkshire. We're literally just off junction 24 on the M62, so perfect for distribution throughout the UK, Scotland, sort of national coverage really. We do ship over to Ireland as well. So as an independent solar distribution company, we choose only to work with the most trusted and respected brands. So as our customers, you can be confident you'll be receiving only products of the highest quality. So what sets us apart from our competitors is our technical know-how and our can-do attitude. So if you're unsure of the best size system for your next project or how to create the ultimate smart home, our technical team are on hand to answer your questions and make sure we give you the best possible advice. So you can see a little bit more of our facility there. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor jumping about, but we do have solar on the roof, solar carport, we have battery storage rigs within our facility, and we also have the car chargers as well. So we do practice what we preach, and we do believe in the products that we sell, so much so we install them within the setting. So what we offer, we are experts in renewable energy solutions, and both companies work together to offer a complete solar package for installers. This includes solar PV modules, battery storage, inverters, mounting systems, EV chargers, and the cables and accessories. So our team, we are an award-winning team, and our growing team are passionate about our products, and we work hard to build and maintain lasting relationships with all of our customers and suppliers. Last year we won 3 awards. We won Company of the Month for Sustainability Today in June, won Company of the Year for Sustainability Today for 2019, and we also won Best Renewable Energy Products Distributor for 2019 for Yorkshire in the SME News. So we have got a few awards that we've either been nominated for or we've already won so far this year. They've not been public knowledge. We're just in the middle of doing the marketing and press release for one of those. So over the next couple of weeks, you will see some press releases about some more awards that we've won. 5-star service, which is really important to us as a company. We do offer that personal support to our customers, and we believe in treating our customers like friends. We're always available over the phone, on email, over face-to-face support over a brew and a biscuit. We can even hold Zoom appointments if that's what you prefer. So obviously with the current situation, the COVID, we're not having any meetings within our facility to protect the staff, but I have been out on a couple of meetings where I've met outside of of businesses. We've had a coffee, we've had a cup of tea, you know, a biscuit, and sort of had a chat over what you've got going on. If that's what you want to do, that's not a problem. We just have a couple of forms that we need to fill in with regards to your policies surrounding COVID and our own. If you'd rather it be over Zoom, again, that's not an issue. We can do Zoom meetings and Zoom training sessions, personal training sessions. So onto the after sales support, which again is just as important as the pre-sales. So from design right through to delivery, you can trust us to be there every step of the way, including ongoing after sales support for as long as you need it. See some of the pictures there from some of our team. Our facilities, we are quite spoilt with our facilities, as you will see through the rest of the presentation, but you know, we do have a very large warehousing facility with over 40,000 square foot, and this is for energy alone. It doesn't hold any other products from any of our other companies. So this enables us to hold extensive stocks on site. It's not unusual for us to be able to facilitate orders of 2,000 panels to site. You know, we can hold extensive stocks, and therefore many items are available for next day delivery throughout the UK. So as I said earlier, we are pretty spoilt with our facility. We do have a training centre. It was one of the first in the UK of its kind. It opened in 2018, purpose-built training centre, and it's opened its doors to over 300 installers wishing to further their knowledge on renewable energy products. You'll find battery storage, so you can see we've got the battery storage rigs here, which also store the energy from the solar we've got outside. We've got EV training rigs, roof models and mounting systems training, as well as a classroom and lecture theatre. If you can't make it to one of our in-house product training days, currently we're not hosting them due to obviously everything that's going on, but we have taken to Zoom. Once we can reopen our training centre, we will be hosting both internally and for external, so we'll be able to put a webcam in there, so anybody who can't make it to West Yorkshire, you know, you might be up in Scotland, you might be in Cornwall, we will be hosting it also online, so we can reach for, you know, get a bit better reach and have more people in the training sessions at any one time. Again, it's just about whatever suits you best. We're adaptable. So I hope you've learned a little bit more about us. If you have any questions, our phone number is there, both websites are there, and I'm sure everybody's got my email address with regards to the link from Zoom. So if you do need anything, don't hesitate to drop us an email or a call. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to hand you over to Raj from Goodwe. So I'll just mute my screen. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending the joint Waxman Goodwe webinar today. Many thanks to Sarah for giving us an insight into what Waxman can offer. Waxman are one of our major distributors within the UK for our products, and have been a close partner to us for several years now, and we're building our business successfully through them. Today we're going to discuss our product roadmap and what we've actually got in the market now, what products we have in the market now, and what products will be coming in the very near future. But before I get into that, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what we actually supply, what we actually bring to the forefront at Goodwe. Right, here's a little history about Goodwe. We've been established a decade now, and in that short period of time, we've hit some major milestones. One of the first things we did back in 2010 was establish our first of our R&D centres. We won the Photon Efficiency Awards, top 3 and top 5 within this time period. In 2014, Goodwe UK was set up. We set up our service centre in Australia, and also service centre in Holland, and we also set up Goodwe in Australia. Now, Australia and Holland have been some major markets for us. Also here you can see it's the start of our partnership with BYD and TUV Rhineland. Now, BYD, as you know, are one of the major battery producers globally currently. we do a lot of joint development work with them on our energy storage products. 2016 to 2017, again, we'd won the TUV Rhineland Quality Award, but more importantly here, our SEMS was launched. I'll talk a little bit about SEMS a little bit later on in the slides, but it's our smart energy management system. It's our monitoring portal, which has been developed in-house by Goodwe. Unlike other brands, we don't use a third-party company. In this time period, we also started working with our partners Solar Sentry to sell Goodwe inverters in IKEA stores in the UK and in Europe. And that was a deal that actually took quite a long time to get through. And then IKEA approved Goodwe as a product to be sold in their stores, which was quite a major step for us. We'd at that time set up our second R&D centre. From the slides that we'll go through, you'll probably realise that the focus is on research and development within Goodwe to constantly improve and bring new products to the market. 2018 to now, we've won the TUV Rhineland Award 4 years consecutively. We've been now set up in Mexico and Brazil, and we have a setup in Germany as well, where we have a new office at the moment, and we're recruiting in all of our European markets, so the company is growing. Just gives you an idea of global presence. You can see the offices that we have around the world. Major key point here is 25%, a quarter of our workforce are actually engineers that work in our R&D department. There's over 130 patents registered now, which have been developed by Goodwe for use in our own products. There are 2 factories. It gives us an 8 gigawatt capacity globally. Some of the main markets. In green here, we've just employed a new sales manager on the East Coast based in Florida, and we're looking to hire people in Canada and America, but we're already set up in Brazil and Mexico, so we are going to be moving into this marketplace. South Africa is quite a big market for us, and that's actually controlled here from the UK, but we now have a presence there as well with a country manager and a technical backup service also. Some of the awards that we won, ISH market report, we were top 6 global inverter manufacturer in 2019. The 4 consecutive awards, I believe this is 5 now actually, so there's 1 more to add on to here. So we're one of the first companies to win this award 5 years consecutively. The Red Dot Award, this is a bit of an unusual award in our industry, but it was given to us for innovation and aesthetic looks of our products. Some of our partners, as you can see there, Bosch, Sterling Wilson, Tato Power, Momodo, Voltalia, but Waxman, as you see there, is one of our main partners in the UK. This year, happy to announce we've also agreed and signed upon a global agreement with GE. Now, GE, as you know, is a global corporation, and they do have a renewable energy division. In some markets, our inverters will be sold under the GE brand, but not here in the UK. Right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. We're going to start with our smaller single-phase and smaller three-phase range of products. But our portfolio of grid-tied string inverters runs from 700 watt all the way up to 250 kilowatt currently. Right, on the left here, we have our XS mini inverters, which are 700 watt, 1 kilowatt, 1.5, 2, 2.5 and 3 kilowatt single tracker inverters. They're small, they're lightweight, they're compact, they're ideal for residential solutions in the UK, plus also for housing projects. The dual trackers we sell here in the UK is the DNS, which comes in a 3, a 3.6 and a 6 kilowatt. The DSS unit we don't actually sell in this market, but this is one of the products that we won the Red Dot award for. And then we have a MS inverter, which we sell in the Japanese market, which comes from 5 to 10 kilowatt. We don't actually sell this one here unless the demand grows for a larger single phase inverter in the UK market. Our 3-phase products are our SDT range, which we currently sell here, the SDT Generation 1, but the Generation 2s are coming in. They range from 4 to 25 kilowatts. So we've basically covered here our residential range for single phase and also a smaller 3-phase range of inverters, string inverters. I mentioned the XS series earlier. It is small, lightweight, compact. The fascia here is roughly the size of an A4 sheet of paper. It has a very low startup between 40 to 50 volts, so they get going quite early and start generating early, so you get higher yields. What you'll find in the complete range of string inverters now, that more and more of our inverters are compatible with bifacial modules. Now, bifacial modules, a lot of the tier 1 panel manufacturers are now coming out into the marketplace with this. Basically, what they are is they have a higher input current, unlike the regular PV modules that we've seen in the past, and our inverters can work efficiently with bifacial modules which produce a higher input current. On the AC side, you've got more power, 10% extra loading. In some markets, and this may be required, we can actually add type 2 surge protection if required. For connecting to our monitoring portal, you've got options of Wi-Fi, LAN, RS485, and 4G, I believe, will be coming in now next year. Again, this is a little screenshot of our smaller 3-phase units, the SDT series. They are again lightweight, compact, and you can actually see size to power ratio. You get quite a lot of power for the size of the inverter. This is quite important. We actually make our body casing out of one material, so the heat dissipates evenly. Unlike some other brands where they're made of different materials, you don't get concentrated heat spots and build up of heat, which affects the inverter. Again, compatible with bifacial modules, so they can work efficiently with modules that supply a higher input current. You can actually oversize these by 50%. So this basically says, you need less inverters with more panels on the roof and they still work efficiently. This is actually a good cost saving feature, so you haven't got to buy extra inverters. IP65, you can put them outdoors providing that they're covered. And again, for connecting to our SEMS monitoring portal, you've got options of Wi-Fi, LAN or RS485 monitoring. Right, moving on from the smaller 3-phase units, we've got our SMT, our MT, and the new HT series, which is coming into the marketplace soon. The SMT we currently sell here in the UK, 3 trackers, 25, 30 and 36 kilowatts. There are plans to make a 50 and 60 kilowatt in this range with a 5 and 6 tracker unit. We're probably going to see these sometime in the near future. I haven't actually got a date for these. So we're covered here on the mid-range 3-phase smaller installations with the 25s, 30s and 36. Then we go to our MT series. Now the MT has been a success story here for us in the UK. There have been several installs over the last 18 months where the 50s, 60s and now the 80s have been used on commercial rooftops. Now, safely say this year there's a 2 megawatt that's already been completed, a couple of 1 megawatts and quite a few 250 kilowatts and up. And on the 80 kilowatt, we've got just under a 5 megawatt going up at the moment. We also supply this in a high voltage range. So if you need an MT series that needs connection to a transformer, we supply that in a 70 and an 80. And then if you are using bifacial modules, we also supply a model which is capable of working efficiently with bifacial modules for 50, 60 and 80. As I said, the MT here between the 50 to the 80 has been a success story for us on commercial installations in the UK over the last 18 months. The good news is by the end of the year and going into early next year, we've got our new HT series with 10 trackers, 12 trackers, 100 kilowatt and 120 kilowatt. These are not too far away from reaching the UK market, and also a high voltage version for 136. The 150, I haven't actually got a date of when this is going to be released. So going back to what we started with was 700 watts on the single phase. In up to 3 phase, we've got up to 150 kilowatts here, and there's more to come. Right, going back to the MT series, a little focus on this. Again, 50% oversizing. You can actually achieve 15% overloading on 15% more power on the AC side. Bifacial module compatibility, as I mentioned, it actually works really well in high temperatures, and we have charts to show it derates less than other brands, derates slower than other brands do at high temperatures. So basically they work more efficiently. Added optional extras you can actually add if you need an arc fault safety feature in there. So if there's a loose connection on the roof, the inverter will sense it and shut down for safety reasons. So you can actually add this in. Also, AC connector temperature detection. If the AC connectors are getting too hot, the inverter will sense it and basically shut down the inverter safely. String level monitoring. Another optional feature here, humidity detection. We probably don't need that here, but in markets like South America and India, this is a requirement. And again, Wi-Fi, RS485 and PLC communication. Power line communication for large installs is a very good cost-saving feature for monitoring. You don't use you don't have to connect every single inverter with RS485 for monitoring. Still just focusing on the MT, one of the reasons why it has been a success is, and proven to be a success, is we've received this award from VDE in Germany. It's the ARN 4110. Now, it doesn't really apply to the UK, but what it does actually show and prove to your customers or investors or funders that the product has passed one of the strictest tests and evaluations in Europe, and not many other inverter brands have actually achieved this for their products. So this is a very hard certificate to get, and it just shows the quality and the innovation within the Goodwe products. Right, so we stopped at the 150 there. This is the new 250 kilowatt HT inverter for utility, well, for basically utility jobs and large C&I solutions. It's got a 1500 volt DC input. As I said, it's a 250 kilowatt unit, 12 trackers, and it's the HT250. This will be available as of January 2021 into the market, excuse me. So just to show that we've covered on our string inverters from 700 watt all the way over to 250 kilowatt, it shows that we have a solution for most circumstances you may come across in the market for your needs and for your customers' needs. Excuse me. Right, one award that we've just won about 3 months ago, we were voted by Wood Mackenzie as the world's #1 energy storage inverter supplier, and this is for hybrids and AC coupled solutions. You've seen that we've got an extensive portfolio for string grid-tied inverters. We now also have an extensive portfolio of energy storage products as well. Excuse me. Right, here we go. This is the start of our smaller range. The ES, EM, ESA, EH, EHR, and ET. Basically, anything with an E in it means a DC hybrid. And we have the SBP, the BH, and the BT. Anything with a B in it is an AC coupled retrofit storage solution. Right, focusing on the left-hand side on the hybrids. The ES and the EM we've successfully sold in the UK, and the EM is the one that we feature on because it's smaller, compact. And most of our ES sales are now in South Africa. We have the ESA tower here, which is an all-in-one solution with Goodwe batteries, which will be supplied from next year. Right, these work with the low voltage 48 volt smart batteries, which I'll show to you later. The EM in the UK starts at a 3, a 3.6, and a 5 kilowatt. Works with the low voltage batteries. So these three here work with the current low voltage batteries like Pylon Tech, currently in the UK. The EH and EHR and ET work with the newer high voltage battery technology, which we're seeing more and more coming into the marketplace. So we have a solution on the low voltage battery side and also on the high voltage battery side. Right, the EH is the high voltage version of the EM, small, lightweight, compact. The EHR means that we can actually sell this through our distributors as hybrid ready. So you could buy this at a price of roughly around about a regular grid-tied inverter, and then later buy a kit to enable it to be active with a battery, so you have a complete energy storage hybrid. These come in 3.6 to 6 kilowatt. The ET here, which we're already selling in the UK, again works with a high voltage battery, Pylon Tech or BYD. These come in 5, 8 and 10 kilowatt, but they're 3-phase units. Now, there is a project somewhere in the north of England for rural railway stations where they're actually connecting this 3-phase DC hybrid with the high voltage batteries. We're selling these successfully. These can be put in parallel to, say you have 60 kilowatts on the roof, you can put 6 10 kilowatts in parallel, and they'll all work in unison using a separate ancillary device. The SBP is our AC coupled retrofit storage solution that we sell through Waxman's. Single phase again, comes in 3.6 and 5 kilowatt. Again, works with the low voltage battery. The BH is the high voltage version of the SBP. So another single phase storage solution which can be retrofitted to an existing PV system. These are ideal because they don't actually link directly to the PV system. They detect the excess energy within the home and redirect that excess energy to the battery, and they all charge and discharge accordingly to the smart program in there. So the BH is the high voltage version of the SBP, which will be coming into the marketplace if you have a requirement for that. Now the BT over here is the 3-phase AC coupled storage solution, comes again in 5, 8 and 10 kilowatt, works with a high voltage battery. Now the ET, as I said earlier, anything with an E in it is a DC hybrid, and anything with a B in it is an AC coupled storage solution. So we have, in essence, in this slide, a solution for single phase hybrids that work with low voltage batteries, single phase hybrids that work with high voltage batteries, and then 3-phase hybrid that works with a high voltage battery. Here we have a AC coupled storage solution, single phase, low voltage, AC coupled to single phase storage solution, high voltage, and also a 3-phase one with high voltage. So we're pretty much covered across the range for residential solutions and small commercial applications for energy storage. Focusing on the ES, this is one of the first products that we brought to market back in 2014, 2015 as a hybrid, and it's still being sold successfully today. But all of our hybrids are actually modelled on this. All the later on, the future products and the products, newer products that we're selling now, right, they have a automatic switch over to backup. So if the grid fails within 10 milliseconds, and Colin has actually demonstrated this in the Waxman training rooms several times, when the grid fails, it goes into backup and starts working from the battery automatically. There's no manual switch over. Some markets you can actually charge the battery from the grid. We don't recommend that here on the DC side. But say for instance in South Africa, if you have a bad PV day and you don't have enough spare energy in your battery, and you know the next day at 11 o'clock, for instance, that the grid is going to fail, you can actually charge your batteries from the grid beforehand to make sure you've got backup power when the grid does fail. all of our products come with, in the box, a smart meter and CTs across the range. So basically this ancillary device picks up the excess energy within the property and then directs it to the battery or to the load, or as and when, however the protocol dictates. As we all know, energy storage solutions are all about saving costs and not exporting to the grid, basically using everything that you're self-generating. On these products, on our energy storage products, for instance, there's a big heat sink on the back. This actually dissipates the heat evenly. It's something that we manufacture ourselves. There's no fan or moving part which can encounter like problems like dust or anything like that. It's all pretty well thought of how they've done them. If you take these units apart, you can actually see there's a lot of redundancies, redundant components within the products. And this is, again, throughout all of our newer range of products, there's a lot of redundancies in there, which means that if one particular component is not working properly, there's another one to take over, so it keeps on working. So, right, again, connection to our monitoring portal, which is quite important. We have Wi-Fi, LAN and Bluetooth. On the SEMS part for energy storage products, it is quite interesting when you look at the monitoring, because you can actually see your regular PV curve that you see, but you can actually see what you're charging and discharging throughout the day, and also what the state of charge of the battery is. You can see what the grid is doing, what you're drawing from the grid or what's going out to the grid. There's a lot of information you can actually gauge and sort of understand how your system is working from our SEMS monitoring portal. Right, going back to the ET, it's a little screenshot for you. As I said, the ET is a three-phase hybrid. It can be paralleled, and in this example, if you have 100 kilowatts on the roof, you've got 10 ETs here in parallel, all with their own separate bank of batteries. Now, this device here, which is a separate ancillary device that we sell, controls all 10, so they work in unison, so the batteries and discharge and charge accordingly at the same time. So this actually controls these in parallel. So if you have 60 kilowatts worth of panels, 100 kilowatts worth of panels on the roof, you can have 10 of these, in theory, here as shown in this graph, in parallel, all working together, all with their each bank of batteries. Now, on the bank of batteries, depending on what manufacturer you use, whether it be Pylon, BYD, or whoever's on our compatibility list, I mean, you can have a minimum of 10 kilowatt, roughly about 10 kilowatt, approximately 10 kilowatt hours of storage, up to about 22 or 21 kilowatt hours of storage per battery bank. So that's quite a lot of storage you can have, your customers can have of spare energy that they don't say use over a weekend, that they can reuse on a Monday. Just a little feature that I like about the product. Right, moving on to storage. We've talked about our single phase residential storage solutions and our smaller three-phase, the BT and the ET. These are going to be coming into the market very early in 2021. Right, as I said earlier, anything with an E in it is a hybrid storage solution. Anything with a B in it is an AC coupled storage solution. These are basically commercial storage solutions from 50 100, 150 to 200 kilowatts. Everything comes in the cabinet as shown here. It's a modular design. They're up to about 2 meters high, and then you have your bank of batteries, which will be separate from this. So you can have quite a lot of commercial storage. They help with adjustable reactive power. There's a built-in remote shutdown. Modular design, as I've said. Again, automatic switchover once the grid fails, and they work well with buildings with unbalanced power output. So these are coming into the marketplace, and a lot of people over this last 6 months plus have been inquiring about these for going back and fitting to, say, a factory or some offices that are not being used over the weekend, where the energy is not being used over the weekend. And it's a good way and a good cost-saving device for your customers. Right, on the monitoring, we're now basically covered globally, but these are all the markets that we're represented in. It is available in 12 languages, and we cover over 150, more than 150 countries currently. It's a little screenshot of one of the screens you can actually see. As I said, this the SEMS has been designed by ourselves, and it's forever evolving to later on incorporate things like wind, EV charging and stuff like that, which will all come into this feature. But here on the left-hand side top corner, you can see system type, you can see the capacity, you can see commissioning date, where it's located. Down here, you can see your regular generation graph, monthly, annual, and daily figures. Accumulated generation information up here, operational status. You can see that you can actually scroll along this graph here, stop your mouse, and the information will come up as to what's happening at that particular time period. And then you can actually see in more information, inverter status, inverter information, virtually in real time. There is a button up here that you can push, which actually give you this screen as well, which is your main dashboard. With this, you've got like a carousel type thing where you can actually tailor this to how you want it. Up here it says Goodwe, but you can actually enter your own company name. There is a hierarchy to this SEMS platform where you can be the administrator, your installers can have their version, and the end customers can see what they need to see. So you can actually tailor it to how you want it. But from here, you can see weather information, environmental statistics. You can actually see where your plants are in that format, or actually in this format. And there's a lot of information you can actually download. Excuse me. Right, here's some case references. I'm just going to flip through these before I switch over to Colin. 11 megawatts in Holland. So, we do some quite big stuff, but we do a lot of small stuff as well. 42 megawatts there in China, 5 megawatts in Holland. 200 kilowatts in Suffolk, 354 kilowatts in Lancashire. Those are all on the MT. There's a 2.3 megawatt there in Hertfordshire. You can see there, which is just not too far, just north of London. That's all on the MTs. Some smaller stuff here. There's a UK one here with 3 EMs connected. Africa, so there's some hybrids there as well. So as you can see, we've got a good all-round portfolio to help to have a solution for most of your needs and your customers' needs. So thank you very much. I'm just going to hand over to Colin.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can see my screen now. Is my screen visible? Great. Just and that screen, great. Okay, so my name's Colin Poulter. I'm responsible for the pre-sales and service activities for Goodwe in the UK. So today I'm just going to focus on our C&I solutions, primarily on our larger inverters. And then once we've gone through that, I'd like to show you another short slide session for the service activities here in the UK and some of the benefits that you'll receive from that. So here we are, Goodwe CNI solution. I'm going to take you through this. So what's it all about? So for CNI, it's important that you obtain or you achieve a lower levelized cost of energy. So the way we can help customers achieve this is through our product range and the type of equipment that we have. And we can, throughout the course of this presentation, show you how you can achieve lower investment, why our products are capable of achieving higher yield, some of the enhanced reliability aspects of our equipment, and also the intelligent functions of our O&M through our SEMS portal. So we're going to have a look at these features, and it will hopefully give you an overview of how you can achieve this cost of energy. Okay, so moving on to the next slide then. Okay, how do we achieve lower system cost? Right, okay, so you've seen Raj introduce you to our product portfolio, and here I'm just going to focus on the larger products in our range, in our portfolio. On the left hand side here, you can see our MT series, which is a 50, a 60 and an 80 kilowatt version. And you can see here that these come with 4 trackers and across from the smaller range to the higher range, between 10 and 16 DC inputs. This is an 1100 volt DC input range, and it connects to the grid at 400 volts. It has a maximum efficiency of 98.8%. So if we now look at the one in the middle here, which is the smaller of the mid-range HT series, we have the 100 and 120 kilowatt version. Now this comes with 10 and 12 MPPTs, so that means 2 pairs of DC inputs per tracker. So for the 100, you've got 20 DC inputs, and for the 120 kilowatt, you have 24 inputs. Again, this is an 1100 volt DC input, and it connects to the grid at 400 volts. And this has an efficiency of 98.6%. So moving across here to the other side, the 136 kilowatt, again, it has 12 MPPT, so 2 DC inputs per tracker. It's 1100 volt max DC input range, but this connects to the grid at 500 volts, and this has a maximum efficiency of 99%. So finally here on the right hand side, this is our very latest product. This is the HT 250 kilowatt inverter. This has 12 trackers, 24 DC inputs, but on this occasion the DC input voltage range is 1500 volts, and it connects to the grid on the AC side at 800 volts, and it also has a maximum efficiency of 99%. So I'd just like to focus a little bit here on the MT series now, and you can see here that we have 4 different variations of this particular inverter. Now on the top left hand side here, we have the 50, the 60 and the 80 kilowatt version. Now this is connected at the grid at 400 volts. So this is typically going to be used in the rooftop commercial scenario, where the building's going to consume energy from the inverters to help lower the energy costs of running this building. Beneath that, we've got our 50, 60 and 80 kilowatt bifacial module version of this product. So it's going to accept the wider input current range from bifacial modules. On the top right hand side here, we have our high voltage version of the product, which is a 70 and an 80 kilowatt version. Now these will be connecting directly to a transformer for the purpose of a solar plant, so it's a ground mount solution. So this isn't connected to the building, you connect directly to the transformer, and that transformer is going to push the energy out onto the grid. This connects at 500 volts, as I say. But just beneath that one, this isn't particularly relevant for the UK market. However, I would just like to point out this version. We have a low voltage version of the product, which connects to the grid at 208, 220, 240 volts AC. Now, typically, these inverter sizes are 30, 35, and 50 kilowatts, but they'll be connected in countries such as Brazil, Norway, Spain, something like that. But in the UK, these wouldn't be used. But it's just there to complete the picture to say that in this product range, we do have these versions of that product. Okay, on this slide here, we have our HT series, and it's showing you here, we've got 3 versions of this HT series. The 1100 volt grid connected version, which comes in 100 and 120 kilowatts. This is specialized towards the rooftop scenario. So again, where we're going to help assist the lowering the energy cost of the building. So this is a commercial rooftop scenario where you'd use this inverter. Now, beneath that, we have our higher voltage range of inverter. Again, its maximum DC input range is 1100 volts, but it's going to connect to the grid at a higher voltage range. So this is why I say it's a ground mount solution. On the right hand side here, we have the 250 kilowatt inverter, and its voltage input range is 1500 volts DC max. This is going to connect to the grid at 800 volts, and as you can see here, its typical usage is for the ground mount or a large solar plant facility. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the features of the product then, the HT product here. So at the top here, we have built-in surge protection on both the DC and the AC, and surge protection on the communication boards as well. Now on the HT series, they come as a standard type 2 surge protection device. So you can see here that we're going to achieve a lower cost here, because you now don't need to go to the additional cost of adding in a string box with any surge protection in them. So that's all incorporated within the inverter. On the smaller HT series, you can optionally add type 1 surge protection if needed. Beneath here, we've got the anti-PID function. Now this is an optional function which you can have integrated within the inverter, and the function of this, of course, is to repair any damage that's occurred to the panel, any PID damage that's occurred to the panels, and we are able to achieve this by applying a reverse DC voltage across the panels, because we at night time, because the inverters can be powered from AC, we can then convert that back to DC and apply this reverse 800 volts voltage across the solar panels to repair PID. So again, there's no additional requirement for an anti-PID box to be additionally installed. So we get a cost saving here too. Okay, we also have some cost savings here when it comes to grid connection. So you can see here in this example, if you're connecting directly to the grid, you don't necessarily now need to connect in the neutral in a delta fashion connection. You don't need the neutral, so you're going to reduce the cabling costs here. On the right hand side here, you can also reduce costs by using aluminium cables, because the diameter of the input terminals here are sufficient to be able to take the right size cables made from aluminium conductors. So obviously you've got a cost saving there. Rather than using copper, you can use the aluminium conductors. At the bottom here, we also have the ability to perform dynamic power factor correction. So if you've got a building that's running loads, a factory running high loads, motors, etc., then rather than having to go to the cost of buying an external power factor correction cabinet, you can actually use the inverter to apply a correction, so that you're going to dynamically, and it will dynamically respond to the building, and hopefully not, well, it will then of course not incur the high costs that you could be imposed upon you by the grid supplier if you're going into the penalty regions. So this is one useful feature of this product. Okay, so let's have a look now at how you can achieve some reduced costs for the O&M service. Well, here you can see an exploded view of our MT series, and you can see here it's a very modular design. So should the O&M operator need to go out to service this product, it's very easy to quickly replace a component because of the very modular design that we have here. So another very important feature of the products is the monitoring. You've heard Raj talk about SEMS. Well, part of SEMS is the monitoring capability, and what we are showing you here is the various different ways we can capture information from a plant and then send that data up onto the SEMS portal. So for instance, we have an HT series inverter here on the left hand side, and there'll be a number of these inverters in a plant. Now, one of the ways of transferring data up onto the portal is to interconnect all of these inverters via an RS485 port, and then finally terminating that data communication cable into a device called an EasyLogger Pro. Now, the EasyLogger Pro will then be connected to a local router, by LAN connection, and then it's going to transport all the data of the whole system from each individual inverter. It will transport the data up onto the portal, and you can see how this whole system is performing. So that's one method, using the EasyLogger Pro. We have another number two here. We have another way of achieving this, but with more capability as well. And this is using our device, our ancillary device called the SEC1000. Now, the SEC1000 essentially incorporates one of these EasyLogger Pros plus a smart meter, and then you connect CTs to it to perform extra monitoring capability. But what you do get with this is the ability to perform export limitation and also power factor correction control as well. So this device would be connected via this whole system would indeed be connected by RS485, and then finally into this SEC1000. And of course, besides those extra functions, of course, all the data again is transported up onto the portal, so everything can be visualized by the O&M operator. Now here we have another solution shown at the bottom here, the PLC version. So rather than now having to run all the interconnection data cables between the inverters, you can take advantage of a PLC version of the inverter, which is going to transmit the data and the performance data of each inverter over the power lines. Now, in order to facilitate this, rather than using the SEC1000, we have a device called the SCB2000. And this is going to be able to collect the data and send all that information up onto the portal. Okay, at the bottom here, we've just got some examples of a smaller system, maybe 1 or 2 inverters perhaps, where you wouldn't need to go to the extra expense of these ancillary devices, as I've just shown you in 1, 2, and 3. You could in fact use a Wi-Fi module to connect to a local wireless router to transport data to the portal. You could also use a LAN connection if you so desired and connect it into the local LAN connection. Or coming soon is the 4G connection as well. You could use 4G. So we have various different ways of getting data up onto the portal so you can monitor what the system's doing. Okay, here we have an example of power line communication. We just brought out power line communication version 2. Now what we're showing here is a large system on the right hand side, which comprises of, let's say, 4 subsystems. So in each corner here you can see 4 sets of solar panels. Now each of those sets of solar panels and the inverters, which you can just about make out as red square blobs there, each of those subsystems would be then connected to its own individual SCB2000 to collect the data about the set of inverters here. Now, hence you can see here that by using the SCB2000, you're lowering all the cable costs enormously, because you're not having to run hundreds and hundreds of meters of data cable between each of these inverters. And of course, for each subsystem, multiply that by 4 in this example, then you're saving quite considerable amount of money. Also, each of these SCB2000s, they can be interconnected via optical cable, and we call this an optical fiber ring, because each of the 4 SCB2000s are all interconnected. What that does mean is if you happen to lose a connection between one of the arms, then you still have a connection to all 4 of the SCB2000s via the rest of the ring. Now, because it's optical fiber, of course, the transmission data rates are a lot faster than over RS485. And of course, optical fibers are less susceptible to any interference as well. So you can see here, it's quite an effective and a neat solution for a large system to use this series of inverters plus this utility ancillary device called SCB2000. Okay, so that was one aspect. So we also on SEMS are able to show and analyze the IV curves on each string, and that data is collected up onto the SEMS cloud, and of course that will then be visible to the O&M operator to see if there's any issues that are occurring and any reactive responses that they need to make. If there is a particular dangerous situation that's occurred for whatever reason, then they can remotely shut down the whole system at a press of a button. So here on this slide is a bit of a summary of some of the features that I've already mentioned, plus some other features here too. So just starting with string level monitoring, as I just introduced to you, we do have that ability here within our SEMS portal to monitor that data. But if we go back up here, up to the top of the screen where we say 24 hours monitoring. Now we say 24 hours monitoring because if we have the feature of the product where we can just power the inverter from AC alone, so at night time Obviously, there's no DC, so you can power up the inverters by the AC side, and you'll be able to perform any maintenance via the SEMS portal to change parameters or any particular settings that need to be done outside of hours, outside of generation hours. Then this can all be done via this feature here. Now, just beneath that, we have faults recording and a USB flash disk update. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, if the inverter for some reason doesn't happen to be connected to the portal, so it's not been collecting data, then the inverter itself has enough memory within it to collect fault data, so that when you perhaps go to site as an O&M, you can plug in a USB stick and download that fault data, so you can use that then to analyze any faults that have occurred. Also, USB flash disk update. So again, the same port can actually be used to plug in a USB stick and automatically update the inverter software. At the bottom here, we have a third-party monitoring device capability, and that enables, if you for some reason don't wish to use our SEMS portal and you wish to integrate the data into your own system, then we do have different ways that we can offer you to do that. So we have an API that is available. It's SCADA compatible as well, and also we are weather station compatible. So when we say third-party device monitoring, then we can use equipment such as SolarLog or Meteo Control, because we do have the right protocols to be able to do that. Now, just on the right-hand side here, we have this feature called data resume. So again, if there's a situation where there's been a loss of transmission to the portal, in this case, perhaps the connection to the portal has recovered. But what this does is enables the data that has been lost for the time period up to 2 weeks, the time period that it's been offline, that will backfill all the data that's been missing. So we call that breakpoint continuous transmission. Okay, so that's, and of course in the middle there is just a summary view of the portal, or some of the views that you would see. Now, as Raj may have already mentioned, the SEMS is highly configurable, and as an installer or an O&M operator, you would have the type of account that would enable you to display the type of information which is particularly important to you. Now, within one of the design windows, there are some drop-down options that enable you to select what you want to see. So, for example, on the top left here, we're showing some information about the plant. And you could go into this drop-down box at number 1. You could select what information you wanted to display on the screen. And you have 6 configurable areas of screen around the left-hand edge and the top right-hand edge. Also from this screen, it enables you to view alarms, generate reports. It enables you to flick to this plant status. There's also a carousel which enables you to click on the carousel and scroll through either the plants that you've got visible, or within the plant, the actual individual inverters, so you can analyze what's going on there. Okay, so moving on. So how can we achieve higher yield? Right, well, the way we can do that is with this example here, with our HT series inverter. We have 12 trackers. Now, as we all know, an inverter is only as good as the solar panels that it's connected to and the number of trackers. So in this example, on the left hand side here, we have a number of reasons perhaps why a panel is reducing the performance of a system. So let's say we've got a broken panel. Well, that broken panel is going to impair the performance of the tracker that it happens to be connected to. But of course, it's only going to reduce the performance of the one tracker, because in this case we have a 12 tracker MPPT. Now, of course, if we've got multiple numbers of HT in a field to generate a plant, and only one of those panels is broken, then you're only affecting a very tiny, small amount of the whole overall system, because it's only affecting one inverter and one tracker of that inverter. Okay, inverters also have a very low startup. So what does that mean? That means we can start generating earlier during the day, and of course it's going to generate for longer during the course of the day as well, because the shutdown time will be later in the day. Full power output up to 45 degrees, and we have the TUV Rhineland certification for that. Also, we're showing here that we're achieving cooling by using these smart fans rated at IP68 from the Japanese brand NMB. So rather than allowing the temperature to rise, we use these fans to intelligently cool the device. And because these fans only use a very tiny amount of energy, it's worth having that to save the overall cost of reduction of power when it reaches a high temperature. It's much more efficient that way. DC oversizing, we can actually achieve up to 50% DC oversizing depending on the conditions. So here we've just showing you an example here of a roof that could actually take an extra capacity. So we're showing you here these extra panels that have been added into the system. And not only does that help lower the costs on the number of inverters, it also reduces the amount of mounting system as well. So you're going to get a cost reduction there too. Again, we have another saving here. We can actually achieve up to 15% AC overloading as well. So in this example here, we're showing a system that comprises of 1.3 megawatts of solar panels, and they're being input to a 1 megawatts worth of inverter. Now, here on the output, you can see because we've oversized the inputs, we can actually achieve this 15%. In other words, in this example, 1.15 megawatts of power. So you can see here that you can achieve higher cost savings. We're also compatible with bifacial modules as well. So in this example here, we're showing you the fact that we've got the wider DC input current range of 15 amps. And we also have the feature of being able to be compatible with tracking systems as well. I don't know actually too many of tracking systems in the UK, but we do have this feature that is used elsewhere in the world. But we do have this because we do have the protocols to be able to support that. Okay, so finally then, in this last section, we're going to look at some of the reliability and safety features of our products. TUV Rhineland, very important certificate here that you've already been introduced to. So we'll move on to the next slide, which is just showing you here some of the components within the design of the inverter. And what we're showing you is a comparison between filter capacitors and then film capacitors, electrolytic capacitors. So we've moved over to these film capacitors because they do actually perform better with temperature. You can see here on this graph on the left-hand side, the typical film capacitors, its capacitance stays very constant over the temperature range, whereas as you can see here, the electrolytic on the blue curve is it fluctuates very widely with temperature. And also shown down here on the left hand side. It's showing you the graph of the performance of the lifetime of the devices compared to the electrolytic compared to the film capacitor. So you can see here over the temperature range up to 80 degrees C, you can see the lifetime of the film capacitor is very, very constant up here, 15 years, whereas the electrolytic really dies off with increasing temperature very quickly. So that's one of the reasons that it's very reliable. And we're also, because it's only two strings per, two inputs per tracker, it's also a fuse-free design as well. Multiple redundant protection guarantees. Well, our main DESP processor here, it has a backup processor, so should the first one fail, automatically the backup one will kick in and take over. Similarly, we do have some protection on the AC relay side as well, so should a set of relays fail, they'll automatically switch over to the backup relays. So health, safety, as I say, is an important feature. So we do have the ability to detect temperature of our AC connector inputs, and that will determine whether the inverter needs to shut itself down. So in a situation, as you can see here, perhaps by this picture, there has been an excess amount of heat perhaps built up on the AC connectors, and this inverter now will actually, via this mechanism, shut down. We also have arc fault protection feature as well. So on the DC side, if there happens to be a fault that's developed on the roof, maybe a loose connector or there's a damage to a string, then we do have this feature where also it's going to shut down the inverter to protect the system. So finally, on this slide is a summary of some of the features and functions and optional choices that you can have. Anti-PID, which we spoke about, is an option there. We also have a high humidity detection as well, so that will send alarms to the SEMS portal to indicate if there's an over humidity range. SPD protection type 2 is standard across the HT series, but you can optionally purchase type 1 SPT devices for the smaller inverters. And finally, on the left hand side here, when we spoke about powering the inverters from the AC side alone, for the 1100 volt range, that's an optional feature that you can have, but it's standard for the 1500 volt inverter, in other words the 250 kilowatt inverter. So that's the last slide here in this section, and my next slide will be just to take you through a few of the functions of the service side of the Goodwe's business. Now, hopefully now I've got the right slide up there for Goodwe service, and you can see that. Okay, thank you, Sarah. Okay, so Goodwe portal, Goodwe website, goodwe.com. Now here you're going to find a lot of information, a lot of useful information that is not only benefits yourselves, it could be useful to your customers and end users, of course. Now, across the top here, we have some information about the products, some of the solutions. There's a lot of useful information there which you can navigate and have a look at. We have the support section where I'm going to show you a lot more detail, and also a very useful part of our website is our Solar Academy. They do produce a lot of useful instructional information here. Just lost my mouse. Right, okay. So just moving on. So I'm going to take you to the support section, as I say. Now, at the top of the support section, the drop down is where you can observe or gather information about the warranty status of inverters. So when you navigate onto that page, you can type in the serial number of the inverter, and it's give you all the information about the warranties, and also enable you to upgrade and purchase new warranties as well. Online support. Now, this is a bit that I'll come on to in the next slide or so. Frequently asked questions, well, that sort of speaks for itself. It's information about those type of questions that get asked many times. Videos. Now, videos, that shows you a lot of useful things about how equipment's installed, how to use apps, overviews of the different types of inverter, etc. Now, downloads I'll come on to in a minute. Monitoring. Now, monitoring, this is where you go to access the monitoring portal, the SEMS portal, and in there you go in and create an account, and that's where you'd be able to access the view. System design at the bottom. Now, that's a page where you can go in and create yourself an account, and that enables you to use our solar design tool. So it's got a database of panels and our inverters, and enables you to put a simple design together. It's perhaps not as comprehensive as something like PV Sol or PV Sys, but it does give you quite a lot of useful design information there. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is the screen that when I've just clicked on download, as highlighted there. When you scroll down that page, you're going to get to a set of drop downs that's going to enable you to select some useful information. So perhaps you want to find out about a particular inverter, so you'd select user manual, you'd select the product series, choose the language, of course, English. And once you've done that, in this example, I've selected the EM. I wanted to have a look at that, and it's brought up all the certificates in this case, which is what I wanted to look at. Just put a laser pointer on. There we are. So I happen to select, I wanted to view all the certificates, and there we are. It shows you all of those, and you can download them, etc. Solar Academy, which I briefly introduced you to. Now, this page does have a lot of useful information. At the bottom of the Solar Academy page, there's lots of articles that you can download and read. Not only specific to our products, but also some general topics as well, which are extremely useful. So this is just a view of, if you were to go onto the contact page, this is a view of some of the service centres around the world so far. This is growing. But of course, here, the important one here in the UK is this one here, the United Kingdom. And on that page, you find the contact details. Now, should there be a situation where you you can actually report things online via our online support service. Now, this is probably the best way to do things because everything will be tracked via this mechanism. So all you do is create a sign-in profile for yourselves, or even the end customer as well, and just point them towards this, and that ticket then enters our system and it gets completely tracked. It's probably the best way and the advised way to actually report problems or issues, should there be any. Now, finally, I'd just like to draw your attention to becoming an approved installer. Well, why? Well, it's those 4 reasons there, really. However, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this at the moment because we're just about to announce a new improved version of this, and this is coming very, very soon. So if you bear with us, we'll be announcing this in the very, very near future. But this is something I highly recommend that you do because it has got benefits to you, and it also enables you to pass on benefits to your customers as well. So this is something to look out for. And there we are, new program to be released very soon. So that was actually my final slide. hopefully you have found that of some use, both sets of slides. Please do contact us, and obviously via Waxman is your best route. And I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and hand you back over to Raj.
Thank you everyone for attending. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for sitting through. Hopefully the information that Colin and I have provided will help you make your choices to purchase from Waxman in the future. As I said earlier, they are one of our preferred within the UK, and they're able to order in anything that you may need for your future up and coming projects. There is a lot of information that we've supplied you with today. I believe you can get a copy of this webinar from Sarah at Waxman's, or any technical material either from Waxman's or from our website. And we look forward to seeing you at the next one next week for a more in-depth look at our energy storage products, which are sort of rapidly coming onto the market, and that's the way the market is going at the moment. So thank you again. I'll just hand you back to Sarah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to attend our webinar today. It looks like Raj and Colin have done a fantastic job because we've got no questions. So you will receive after today a link to the webinar recording. Also included will be our current price list and account forms for anybody who doesn't currently have an account with us. I'll pop on there the office number and also the details for emailing into the office with regards to technical. Excuse me, Lily. With regards to any technical questions you've got, if anyone's got anything to quickly ask before we go, otherwise I will shut down the webinar and hopefully see everybody next week. Thank you. Oh, we've got one open a chat. Oh, we've got. Oh, Suki, thank you to all. Thanks for attending, Suki, in the office. Take care, everybody. Thank you.